we kind of do.
Oh, you know what? Hang on a second. I wasn't recording any of that. Jesus. All right, we're gonna go through the intro again.
Good.
I hit record and then it said, do you want to record on the computer or record on the cloud? And I didn't choose one. So
That's
ready? Flooring podcast, take two.
flooring
Hey,
podcast.
Flooring Pros. I'm Jerry Levinson, and this is the Flooring Business Podcast, where each week we talk to expert flooring dealers, suppliers, marketing experts, software experts, who I have on this week, and anyone I believe is going to help you in your flooring business. Now, my mission is to give you good information that'll help you reach your goals. So if you're just starting your business, or you're trying to reach 5 million in sales, or you're ready to sell your business, you're going to find useful information that's going to help you reach your goals and profit now in the flooring industry. The Flooring Business Podcast is sponsored by Market Theory, and this is where we provide 10-to-1 peak performance marketing through Facebook advertising. 10-to-1 is $10 to $1 that you spend. To learn how you can generate an additional $40,000 a month in business, contact me at jerry@profitnowwithjerry.com. All right, so this week's episode, I have Braddock, and we got Zach entering the call too. Did you expect Zach to show up?
No, I did not.
So maybe he wants to just listen in and see what this is all about. But Braddock is with FloorZap, and I invited him on because software is so important. I'm not a software expert. I've never really recommended a software. My son was the one that started using it with our company, and I really just followed the rules along. I didn't have anything to do with the onboarding process and all that. Some of the other software programs like RLM, which is super simple to use, I know a lot of people got it and just didn't use it, so that happens a lot, I think, when people sign up with software. But we'll get into that in a minute. But tell me a little bit about yourself and where did you guys come up with the whole FloorZap concept?
So I'll start with FloorZap, and then I'll kind of move into how I came about into FloorZap in the flooring industry. So FloorZap started over a game of cards. Basically, there's a couple of flooring dealers that played cards together, and it, just happenstantially, there's a software engineer in the group, and they asked their friend, "Hey, you know what? We've tried some of the other software out there. Why don't you build a software?" And he goes, "Yeah, absolutely not. Do you know how long it would take for me to build a software? It would take me, 5 to 10 years. And by that time, the other softwares will catch up, and it's just not going to be worth my time. Like, I understand you guys are frustrated, but it's just not going to be worth my time." So after months and months of pestering, one of the flooring dealers goes, "I'm going to pay you a consulting fee to find the best software out there for me. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's kind of what I need. You just go find it." Okay. And he came back to him and basically said, "How did you want me to build that software again?" After seeing how a bit dramatized, but rough gist of what happened. So that FloorZap started. Okay. So now as far as how I came into FloorZap, a little bit of my career journey, I was working for a pharmaceutical marketing company, okay, in college, and we were building out our operations in Zoho software. If you're familiar with Zoho, it's a very, very customizable CRM. You can do a lot of customizations in there. It's not industry specific at all. So we were paying this guy to build out the customizations in it. There was, some coding involved, and also Zoho has an interface where you can customize a lot of this stuff. This guy has a heart attack 2 weeks before I launch. He ends up being okay, but because he was contracted out, we had no idea what happened to him for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Before I launch. So I go in and I do these customizations based on, kind of the tips and things he taught me to kind of help maintain. And I build it out and in Zoho, and then the guy comes back and then tweaks a few things that I did. But I was able to kind of build it out just, using the interface, not actually coding, but using the interface that they gave me. So I'm working for this company. And then the pandemic hits and they try to cut costs and they outsource everybody. So everyone within the United States was let go from this company. Oh. So I'm actually graduating college right when the pandemic hits. and I find the first job I can get, which is in the middle of it, and I get a job selling office supplies, door to door, just anything. And I go into a flooring dealer and I literally sell him a pen, right? the old adage. And he goes, you know what? You should work for me. I'm trying to get onboarded onto this software. It's called FloorZap. They're really small. We're one of the first clients. I just want to see if it would work for us. I start working with FloorZap, and I'm like, wow, they have some really good ideas here. And I'm like, but like when I was building out Zoho could do kind of this and this and this, and we built it to do this and this. Could you guys do this? And FloorZap, to their credit, just does it. It makes it beautiful and makes it better than I can imagine.
Oh, really?
And then we go through, and I'm kind of running operations for this flooring business, and I get them onboarded on FloorZap. And the problem is by the time I get them onboarded on FloorZap and working, I'm supposed to be running operations. And because FloorZap's doing my job for me, I'm twiddling my thumbs. I'm working like 15 hours of real work, and then my other hours of the week, the other 25 hours, I'm doing odd jobs or helping out salesmen or doing sales and things like that. I had tried flooring sales. Everyone that listens to your podcast pretty much does flooring sales. I admire your patience. I don't have it for the Backsplash Betties that change their mind 27 times. I can't do it. You guys as patient and dealing with those people is awesome. I cannot do it. I don't have that patience like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go try a different industry. I'm going to go, I'm going to go do insurance. I got a job somewhere else. And of course, once you're in flooring, you never leave, right? FloorZap had someone quit, and they said, hey, we think you'd be a good fit. And I was like, yeah, I'll go do B2B in the flooring industry. And so I started working for FloorZap, and it's been pretty much a year now, just under a year. I've been with FloorZap.
How many customers have you guys signed up?
In the past year, we started basically when I took over, we had 10-ish. And we signed up over 100 customers this year.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of onboarding. So I know I talked to you a couple of times at Surfaces, and I know a lot of people responded to the videos and have been through the Facebook group. So you guys are getting a lot of, I mean, it's very competitive too. There's the other software companies have been around for a long time and have a lot of money backing them up and all that. So the gentleman that owns FloorZap, he's the one doing all the coding and all that, right?
Correct. Yeah,
so
the owner does all the coding.
He doesn't have the personality of a salesperson, right?
I think he's better than he gives himself credit for. I just don't think he's the one. I just don't think he likes to do it. And you know what? When you run a company, you get to choose to do what you like.
Right. No, and I've talked to some people too that are good at one aspect, but I talked to a gentleman that's a great salesperson, but not a good leader, so it's like, okay, well, let's talk about how you can hire a manager to run the company and you continue doing what you're excellent at, which is sales. So you're right. I mean, just because you own the company doesn't mean you have to run it. You can let somebody else run it for you and do what you do best. I mean, the opportunities with this company are huge. I got a chance to check out the software and see how it works. So it was very simple to use, but generally onboarding any software is a pain. Talk to me about that. What's it like for a company to start from fresh, and then tell me what it's like to switch? What if you're already using a software, now you got to switch?
I think that onboarding and getting used to having a software is a lot harder than switching. And I've seen it with my clients as well. If you're already using a software, not all softwares, not the same. Hopefully I'm making your job easier when you're switching softwares. And there's a reason you're switching softwares is to make your job easier. So most of the time when I'm onboarding people that come from other softwares, it's been a lot easier because they understand how softwares work and they're used to using a software. The biggest problem that I see with onboarding is people starting to use it in its full capacity where it can help them, right? usually kind of people take chunks of the system at a time, right? Because we run your operations all the way from your CRM, your lead management, all the way through to completing the job and sending them a survey, right? So there's a lot in our system. And so I have people, usually they start with the quoting and invoicing, and then they work on, their work orders and their ordering, and they kind of take it chunk by chunk. And it's just about, it's committing to it. And it sounds silly, but really committing and carving out time to learn it, because it's an investment in yourself is really what it is. It's an investment for your future self to have more time or to make more sales,
So
right?
when I was doing master classes, and I'm still doing master classes, but
Yeah.
when I was doing them with Jason Goldberg, he has RLM, a good
Mhm.
CRM software for specifically for the flooring industry.
Mhm.
He talked to me, talked to our group, our master class group, and would say that, you guys aren't using it. You're not using it right. And you'd find out that so many people would invest in the program, which his program costs next to nothing. So many people would get it and then they just wouldn't use it. And so they would say the program's not working or whatever. And so what we did is we had to enter every lead month, and we just tell everybody, hey, this month, don't worry about anything else. Just enter the lead. Once you get the lead, just enter the lead. Don't worry about all it can do and everything else. We'll get to that later. Focus just on getting in the habit of entering every single lead. So when you enter the lead, does your program work as a CRM as well?
Yes.
So you can send emails from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then can you, what was the other management part? So if you get the lead, you can enter the lead, and then can you schedule your appointment from there?
Yes.
Does it have a calendar built in, or do you have to
We
integrate?
have two calendars built in. So we have the one which is the appointment calendar, your internal calendar. That's going to be your measurements, inspections, store meetings with clients, things like that. And then we have our installation calendar that is separate. Our appointment calendar does integrate with Google Calendar if you need it to, but it's built into the software as well.
So let me see. Now, one thing I did, and not to catch you off guard, I just thought about this, but we can pull up the program if you want.
Oh yeah, I
I
can pull
allowed
up
you
the
to
demo.
share it, so we can pull it up and talk about it and show people what it's like to use it. So you've got the CRM. Is it easy to download your database? Like, can I download a list of customers and get like an Excel database?
You're talking from our system?
Yeah.
Yes. So from our system, it's going to be very easy. Each page that we actually have, we basically have an Excel button where you can download the Excel. So I'm going to hit login. So when you're looking at your customers, okay, and pretty much every one of these, we call them grids, okay, which are basically kind of the Excel sheets of information, right? You can hit Excel and it automatically downloads the Excel sheet. And then it popped up on this side over here where you can't see, of course. But you go over here and you're able to see, the spreadsheet that we just downloaded with all the customers in this, demo site.
Well, you got Johnny Depp in there.
Yeah. So
That's
I
good.
guess with the
He's got
trial just finishing up, that's what the customer selected.
he just got a good settlement, so he has plenty of money for new flooring. Put new flooring in and build a house all around it.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we're talking about the schedule here. So you have the installation schedule, and then you have the employee calendar. So the employee calendar basically is your appointment calendar, and we don't have anything really going on this month, but you can see your employee calendar here. And then if you do the installation schedule, again, we'll go to last month just because there's more data. We're on the second. You can see your different installers have different colors that you can actually pick and choose.
So let's just start from the beginning. So it does start off with the customer, the lead that you get.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of walk me through that. What's it look like to, you've got a lead?
All right, so I'm going to start with the customers. I'm going to hit add new customers. We also have shortcuts up here to do different things. no matter what page you're on, but I'm going to kind of show you from the main page. So I'm going to add a new customer, obviously. Jerry Levinson. And then what's your cell phone, Jerry?
602-690-0402.
690-0402. Okay. Yep. All right. And then what's your business address? Your Carpets of Arizona or your son's business?
480 East Warner.
Okay. East Warner. Okay. Chandler, Arizona. It uses Google Maps to find it, right?
Yeah.
So that way you're not sending people to the wrong address, or you miss here, or you have the zip code, you have the county, so you have everything that you need. Okay. We also can sync to QuickBooks. In this case, our demo site's not, so I'm going to turn it off.
That was going to be a question too, is do you need a separate, does this keep your books or will it sync in with QuickBooks?
Yeah, so it depends on your level of need. I have people with multiple companies that all sync their different softwares into QuickBooks so they can have it in one place. So there's a lot of different things that people do, but we pretty much now seamlessly integrate with QuickBooks and don't really have any issues.
So it populates with all that information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now we have Jerry in the system. I can go under details and I can kind of see this is kind of our CRM portion of it, where you can manage this client. You can put in follow-ups. So if Jerry comes in and we do a phone call, or comes in through our website, right? It's a website lead, and I, call him, reach out, and I leave a voicemail, right? I can say that follow-up is unsuccessful, right? I hit save, and you can see here that you can keep track of it. Then when you actually reach out and you are successful, you can put that, and it puts, what time you're reaching out. You can put any notes, things like that. So that way, hey, has anyone reached out to this lead yet? Because a lot of times, you think I do it and he thinks you do it, and then no one actually reaches out, or we have 3 people reaching out and we seem annoying, right?
Okay. So, we're going to schedule an estimate.
Okay. So that would be under our tasks. So estimate or a measurement would be what you're scheduling. So add a new task, you're able to choose your task type. Again, with our system, most of our task types are customizable. So we actually don't have schedule an estimate in there, but I can actually add a new item of a task type in there. So I added an estimate. I can, block off my time. So today at, 11.
Are people doing this on their own, or are you setting it up for them?
The salesman could do it on their own. You can also set it up for them, so you can select who's doing it here. Okay. And you can select multiple people if you're sending multiple people, like a trainer.
No, I'm like, as far as entering task type and some of the little variables.
Oh yeah, you guys can do that on their own, just like I did. Any person could have done when I added it there. Okay. We have a whole section in under our settings called system lists, where we have over 30 lists that you can customize.
Yeah, people don't get excited when they see all that. They're going, "Oh my God, it looks overwhelming." But I mean, it just, as long as you're in the task, and from there I can add
on the fly, right? And that's why we did it that way, so you can add it from both areas.
Is it on the fly, or is it when I added the estimates? Can I add it from that task list and say, "Hey, this is a permanent thing that we're going to need this in our task"?
Right. So I actually added estimate permanently in our task list.
Okay.
From this page, so now you see estimates on the bottom.
Okay.
And then you can also send SMS reminders for different tasks. And you can set your
text messages.
Yep. Okay. So you can do SMS reminders, email reminders as well, and you can we keep a log of all the emails and SMSs sent through the system.
It's so funny. I don't think everybody knows what SMS means.
Text message. Yeah.
But we call it a text. Just call it a text. Everybody calls it a text. No.
All right, I'll call it a text.
So you can keep track of all that action and activity. Can you send a text message from the system?
Yep. So I can hit send SMS. and I can send you a message. FloorZap is the best, right? Of course, how I feel. I hit send, and your phone should ding pretty much instantly. You probably have it on silent for the interview purposes.
So no, I never have it on silent. So one of the things, just don't tell girlfriends that. One of the things I teach people is for a good follow-up, it's good to send what's called a 9-word text. And it's, are you still interested in carpet for your living room? And just, it used to be a 9-word email, but now it's text. It'd be so much easier doing it from here than your cell phone.
Yes.
I love to be able to type in the message, then get on the cell phone and type in long messages or anything like that.
Just think about how long your contact list gets if you save all your clients' phone numbers.
Right. Well, not only, and then you can market to them by sending out a text of any kind of sales special. If you're having a private event, anything like that, you could probably download it and send it off. You might need a different service for that, though, to do multiple texts, right?
Yeah, so we don't have multiple texts yet. That's something we're going to build. The issue with multiple texts is you get into a lot of regulatory
Right.
things. So we just want to make sure that we're before we take that step, we're within those regulations, because we don't.
I know there's constant contact for emails like that to do a big group email. Can you do group emails from your system too, or is that also?
Yes, you can. So under our marketing tab, we have campaigns that you can run.
Oh, that is cool. No kidding.
Yeah, and so you can campaign content. We have some like templates here that are
I love
very
that.
simple. It's not the most advanced one. We're
Right.
in the process right now of building it out to make it a little bit better, but we do have the ability to do that, and it's already in the system.
That would be good to ask the flooring dealer group for their feedback on that. So with FloorZap, we're able to build marketing campaigns. Here's some of the templates. What are some of the templates that would be useful in a marketing campaign?
Probably ask you that more than anybody.
Yeah. Well, you ask it within the group, because then I call it's soliciting without soliciting. You're asking people their advice and opinion. So you're introducing them to the idea that they can do that. But yeah, you'd have grand opening sales or private sales. Those work really well to invite people in, or an anniversary sale, that kind of thing. Some kind of reminders about warranties or cleaning works well. So, all right. So what's next? We scheduled the appointment. Now, do I generate the estimate from the software?
100%. Yep. So we call it quotes instead of estimates. But so I'm under the client. You have your own quote section, so you can see all the quotes that are under this customer.
As I'm generating that quote, how does it work as far as the pricing? Is it everything pre-calculated and put in there? Like, I just created a price sheet for people for carpet. So based on the square yardage price, here's your square foot retail price for carpet. I just put that up on YouTube.
And you put it installed with Pat, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so all inclusive. And that's the kind of experience I want to have. I don't like to do a line item quote. And all the same, I guess you can deliver it either way with your software, as a line item or as a all inclusive.
Yep, and you can switch it per quote. You obviously have your defaults that you want, that you set up, that we do in the onboarding call. Most people are pretty, one way or the other. They either we show everything or we show nothing, and then there's not a whole lot, kind of in between. But yeah, you're able to customize it, and if someone asks for a breakdown, you can do so on that quote page.
So will somebody have to get tablets for all their employees to run this? I mean, is it best off a tablet, or can they do it from their cell phones, which I wouldn't want to operate off a small cell phone, but.
Yeah. So tablets are the best way, or, those surfaces that are kind of touch screen laptops. which are basically tablets, or they have like tablet mode. That's the thing that's best. You can do, if you're in a pinch, you can do your phone as well. It works. The app that we're working on for the salesman is going to make that a lot easier. That should be out in about 2 months. The
Oh, wow.
contractor app that we're working on is actually going to be out next month for the contractor portal, or not next month, next week. I apologize. In the
Really?
Apple Store for the contractor portal, so they can see their schedule and their work orders and stuff like that.
No, that's exciting. You should announce that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so I generate the quote,
Mm-hmm.
and let's throw out a quote. Let me see an example of what that looks like.
So I always suggest never starting a quote from scratch. When you start, if you're building it from scratch, I say start with a template. The reason why is templates are going to have most of the basic things you're going to look at. So I just did I believe it's glue down vinyl installation, and I just put it in, and it has the square footage and just kind of general things that you would need, right? So you're not starting from scratch every time you're building a quote. Okay, this is especially helpful when you do things like showers. You have to remember all the waterproofing, the membranes, the Schluter, all the different labors you can have, the bench, the niche.
Right.
Um, it kind of can act like a checklist of things you need. It's a lot easier to go and say I don't need something than to remember to add something, because the last thing you want to do is forget something and misquote, right?
So I mean, you see it, I don't know how often you're in the forum, but people ask about checklists all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be perfect also for hiring a new salesperson. I mean, any idiot can follow this. I shouldn't say idiot, but anybody can, measure the house, plug in the measurements, and come up with a quote and not miss key items like baseboards or transitions, or because you can build out the flooring. The owner is building out the template with you or on their own. How are they building?
Usually I kind of walk them through one template, but once they get it, I mean, building a template's not really hard. So you build the quote like we just did, and then you go here and you can hit save as template. So it's not really, it's not really a complicated process. Usually I walk it through it once, and they're able to do it.
Okay, so I'm probably bouncing around. This is not a good idea, but what about the cost of the material? How do you get that information to your system?
So I'm gonna just save the quote real quick. When you're looking at your material list, which is this green button here, okay, you're able to see all your materials. You're able to sort inventory, non-inventory. Most people try to get their price list from B2B. So it's the FC B2B network. It's the same network that everybody else uses. It's the same, third party that we all use. That all the softwares, RFMS, Rollmaster, QFloors, you name it, we all use the same.
Okay.
So we pull in your catalog from there. The only time that people really don't do it is if they have white labeled products that they kind of want, customization, and they enter those via spreadsheet. Usually you can upload a spreadsheet. So for those vendors that aren't a part of the FC B2B network, out in Arizona, Republic's a big one, right? They are not part of the FC B2B network, but you can get spreadsheets from them and upload.
Okay.
And then once they're in there, all you're doing is searching for the product and just checking the products you want to add. Another really cool feature that we have is associated products. Associated products are things that go with the service you're looking at. On our demo site, we don't have it service specific, but think of like for glue, we have glue and underlayment for the vinyl service we're in. But for carpet, you'd have like different types of carpet pad. For grout and thin set for if you're under tile, right? So depending on what we call the services, right, which is, there's different sections, you can actually have associated products. Again, kind of acting like a checklist, so that way you don't miss any of these products when you're adding in things.
All right, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And now we just add that in, and now we have that product in there.
Nice. So now generating a quote, I see that you've got the margins set at 40%.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody can set their margins at whatever they want, and you can make it specific to
The client. So if you're a builder, I can move down my margin 25%. Obviously, have my default. I also, and not a lot of the other softwares allow you to do this. You can actually put in your unit price you want, and then it calculates your margin and total price for you. And then you can customize your total price, and then it calculates your unit price and margin for you. So you can sell it any way you want to do. If you want to sell it, like I'll give it you everything for $1,500, or I want to give it to you for $5 square foot, or you can just I want to make sure I make my margin.
You just backtrack your numbers for job costing. The only time I think somebody would do that is like Backsplash, because I've said you can go in there and say, yeah, I'll do that Backsplash for $1,750, materials, labor, everything,
Yeah,
rather
and
than
so
trying to figure it all out, because that's insanity to try and figure out square footage and labor and all that based on the size of it. You could really literally come in with just one price and say, I'll do it for this price.
right, and normally you're not doing that, but if you're doing like a backsplash, again, you're probably built off a template. You have those line items. All you're doing is substituting the product that they want, right? And then you're going in and you have your margins here. So we use a job costing. So you build your job cost and then you put your margin on top of that. So the way we do it, you should have your job cost, and it even calculates your live profit on what it should be up here on this quote.
So one thing I like to do is, have sales, have specials, show a discount. And one of the mistakes that people make is giving the customer the final price without showing the inflated price first and then showing the discount. So I do see a discount button. If I make my margins, say 50% across the board, and I want to offer a 10% discount.
Okay, so you can totally do that. Also, you have here, you can discount line items. So this little tag here, so you can discount specific line items if you want to.
Okay.
You can do it by dollar or percent. And the same with the overall cost, where you can do it by dollar or percent.
So you can do that if you have a sale on material, or for some reason you can give them a discount in one aspect of the job.
So when I go up here and I put 10% in, you see that my profit numbers changed, and I move down to dollar. So it live calculates your job profit based on what you're putting.
Yeah, let me see a quote generated before the discount, and then let's throw the discount in and see what it looks like after.
So when we view it, it's gonna look something like this. Again, I'm showing all the line items. Of course, you can remove it if you're like Jerry.
Yeah, so let's go back to this project too. That's what it looks like with the line items. So let's see what it looks like without adding the line items.
So now you have here you can show those line items.
Listing everything you're doing for them,
but it's not.
But it's not line item. I like that. I like that a lot better.
Now, if you want to just combine line items, you can. So we call that bundling. So I'm going to put in labor, and I'm going to just choose my paint color here. Okay. And now I'm going to put all the labor under one line item. So if you want to hide line items because you don't want to show them what you're charging for moving the furniture because you're making good profit on that, now they just see it as a labor line.
That should be like the advanced lesson.
Yeah, that's the advanced lesson. But you can hide those lines.
Well, look, I think you make it all inclusive and all that, but I always teach that, yeah, put as much into that invoice of all the stuff that you're doing as possible. So I don't mind line item all the stuff that you're doing. I just wouldn't want to line item the price part of it. So I love generating the invoice with all that information in there. And, the more information, the better, and the more descriptive you can be. Can I change or do anything description wise, like vinyl installation with quarter round? Can I, what if I want to add something in the description part of that?
Well, yeah. And the great thing about this is with our system, you're doing it once, right? So vinyl installation with quarter round. Okay. What did you want to add to it? We can add to
well, what if I have a special note like screw down floors that creak? There's sometimes.
So are you sending it to your installer?
Both the installer and the
Right.
customer, because I want the customer to see that I paid attention to this specific thing. Like customers say, the floorboards are creaking. Can they screw it down or try to soundproof this better? You know, or what if they, something like they've got a dog, so be careful not to let it out. You know,
Yeah. So
something that
you
they told me, I
Mhm.
want to put in the description just so they see I was paying attention to them.
Yeah, so you can put it in the description of the specific labor. You can click on and edit any of these descriptions. You can also add in a comment line item as well. And then you can add service comments that are on the service. So
But it's
there's
nothing to generate that invoice too, and then turn around and say, oh, you know what? Let me add this and go back to it, because it's very simple to add any descriptions or change your line items, change anything. I mean, it's just super simple. This is like it's so easy. I could do it. So
Yeah, so I added a comment line item, I added the service note, okay, and then I added the screw down to the labor itself. So now after I hit save and I view, you can see the service note down here that's underneath the vinyl service. You have the comment line item that's there, and then the description underneath that labor that we wanted to add. So you can put any notes you want, and those are actually relatively new features that we put in about 2 months ago.
okay. What if I want to show financing availability? Do you have anything that shows this is what it'd be if it was 12 months, same as cash, or 24 months
Um,
cash?
so if you wanted to put in, so when you're doing like synchrony financing or
Yeah.
things like that, so there is no way to put financing on the quote. There's a way to put a payment option on the invoice itself, but not on the quote.
Okay. That would be a neat thing. But there's not enough people doing financing, but that would be probably a unique thing for a few
The
people
only
to
thing you
offer.
could possibly do is we allow you to put your contract on the quote if you so choose, and you're allowed to put specific disclaimers. One of those specific disclaimers to the quote could be what your financing options are. So there are ways to put in like kind of more notes like that as well.
So I generate the invoice, I send it to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
Can they pay me a deposit from there?
Yes, we are doing payment processing for credit cards right now. ACH payments actually in development. So, and then obviously if they're doing like check, then we can't process it.
Okay, I just
But they
got the
can take a
text
picture.
saying that.
Yeah. So I just sent it to you. If you hit approve, so I'm on the quote here. So when you hit approve on the quote, if you click the link and hit approve on the bottom here,
Okay, so I've got my quote here, and then I've got approve, revise, or I've got print, so I can print it out if I want.
yep.
Okay, hit approve. Are you sure you want to approve this quote? Hit okay. The
Okay.
quote's been approved. You'll receive an email with the final invoice.
Yeah, so you just got, and I think you just got that text and email. But you
Yeah.
see quote viewed here, so I can see that you clicked the link on my side, and then I see you see approve the quote.
Oh,
And
that's
when
cool.
I
So
refresh
I've
my
got the
page,
quote. I've got the customer agreement. I've got an initial, these areas.
yep,
So, I mean, I'm the kind of guy that'll be driving down the road. I want to get this shit done. So I'm like, I'm not even reading. I'm just initialing it, signing. Here's the payments. We require 50% deposit, yada, yada, yada.
yep.
Um,
In-store
so
credit card,
I
cash,
think
check.
if you make it easy for people to pay, they like that. They love that.
Yep,
So a lot of disclaimers about cancellations and all that.
yep,
Cancellation made, it'll be a $250 fee. And this is where people are going to get jammed up because customers aren't going to read that and accept it. Even though you got it. I tell people all the time that you can write it into your contract. It doesn't mean they're going to say, oh, okay, I agree. They're not going to all of a sudden just comply with everything, even though they signed the contract saying
Right,
that.
and even and you're talking about the $250 fee. They even initialed that line, and they didn't even read it.
Right. So I'm saying I want to make a credit card payment. I got Zelle I can use.
Yep. So when you use
Check,
Zelle,
cash,
Zelle's usually
installment.
attached to an email or phone number, so you can put that email in.
Okay.
FloorZap.com. So that way they know where to send it. Obviously, you can't Zelle through our system, but we can at least tell them where to send it, right?
Click here to sign, so I can sign the contract. I mean, half the time we're not even generating a signature, but this is so simple. Of course we would, because the customer will call us back and go with the order.
Yeah.
So we take their credit card and we even wrote in our contract, you know, the credit card is a sign that, okay, you wanted to go with this because.
Right. But I would highly recommend that no one calls in with a credit card ever again, because you pay just such a higher exchange rate as a store when versus a keyed-in credit card versus even an emailed invoice.
You can negotiate that.
You can.
Because
You
I
can.
have and ideally here's where I'll disagree with you on that. Because well, if you can set it up through the phone, through the system, so they don't have to call it in. They're entering their numbers and everything. That's great.
Right. And you get
All
a
right. So
lot of times you get a lower
one of the things that we can do, though, when they do give us the credit card, we put it in the portal, we run it, and then when we go to run their balance, we could just run their balance. We still got their card information. Are you able to do that with this system?
yes.
Or do you have to get a signature, permission, have them enter the credit card again to
Nope.
collect the balance?
You can actually just run the balance through the system.
It's through their same card.
And
Okay.
it saves it. And so you say, when you go to run a credit card, it asks existing card yes or no, and you say yes. And then
Because we put it in the contract, after the job's done, we will run the balance on the same card that you gave us. We will call them and get permission, but if we can't get a hold of them, they're out of town, went on vacation, whatever reason, not calling us back, we're just going to run their card for the balance.
Yep.
So we put that in our contracts and invoices. So, all right, cool. Well, this is just super easy to use. All right, what else? We sent the invoice. I could do follow up. Changes pretty easy. So if somebody says, can we do this in this room instead? Or what other features? Let me see. So we got job costing. You can produce the invoice. It hooks up with QuickBooks. Can I generate my installation work order?
Yep. So when we go into what we call the work order screen, which is more like a job costing, it includes your installation work order, as you can see, like no contractor selected and stuff. But this work order screen allows you to manage your job kind of from A to Z. So you can order your materials from here in your shopping cart, and you can select your contractor, right, or installer. So I'm going to select input in Flores. Okay, and now he's on the job. He can see his installer work order here, which is what we call the job details page. So it gives them the job number, the client name, phone number, the address. When they click on the address, it takes them right to Google Maps. Okay, so that way your installer knows exactly where to go, and there's not going to be a mistake because you plugged it in with Google Maps and they're following to Google Maps, and I can take this, I guess, 18-hour drive all the way to Chandler. Are you in Gilbert?
No, both. I'm in Gilbert and Chandler. I'm all over the place. So yeah, it's Chandler. All right, so I was able to send my work order, and then obviously being able to place orders. All this information went into QuickBooks, right?
Yep. So ordered. You have to put your order number in here, that reference number, the freight costs, other things. hit save, and it creates it. And now you can see it's ordered and when it's supposed to come in. Then you're receiving, right, your products in, so you can do that in our system. Looks like you didn't finish signing it.
I think I didn't pay with a credit card, so I signed it, sent it in, but
Gotcha. So then we come in here and we mark it as received, so we can now receive the materials in here as well. And then you're scheduling your contractor. You don't actually send the work order in our system to the installer. What you do is it puts it in their portal, and then they can log into their portal and view it in there.
okay.
So they can view their whole schedule and all their jobs.
It's still all generated electronically.
Yeah.
So they've got it in their schedule. They've got the information they need. Okay, so that's most everything. What am I missing? It's super simple. Oh, well, let's talk about the costs, if you don't mind. What is it well, let me ask you that first. Do you mind discussing the costs, or
No.
I know it could be different for everybody, but what does it cost to get it set up just initially?
So we don't have any implementation fees right now. However, it's the 2nd right now. On July 1st, there is going to be implementation fees. Okay. So there's going to be a price hike very soon here for us as we kind of reaching our goals, and we want to make sure that people are kind of more serious about signing up with us. So right now, 5 users, so our 5-user bundle is $269 a month. So that would be 5 users. Most stores fit into that, or they fit into 10 users, which is just double the price at $538 a month. Most people are in those 5 to 10 user kind of ranges. And there's no implementation fees. There's going to be small implementation fees moving forward. I think the biggest it can be is like $4.99 for the implementation fees, and then there's going to be a small increase to the monthly, which is actually most to do with the new feature that we're going to have, which is you're going to be able to, so that texting that we did earlier, right now it is one way. Okay, it is from us, from the company to the customer, and you say if you have any questions, call this number or whatever. And it comes from a FloorZap line, right? Our number. We actually are now going to have the ability to have it come from a number that's your number. So all the texts will come into the system. You'll be able to do two-way texting. And if they call that number, we'll have it forward to your main company line as well. So it'll be with your number, but there's a little extra cost to that, but it's a huge, huge benefit to have your own number and texting both ways instead of just, alerts that are coming out of the system.
Okay. So I know there's like 20 questions I'm not asking you here. So the cost is like nothing for having the program. July 1st, you guys are gonna start charging an implementation. Is it gonna be anywhere near the 5 or 10 grand that we're seeing from other companies? Did you freeze on me? Oh, you froze on me. Stone cold. Thrown. Okay. I can't remember what the last question was I asked you. We'll have to rewind the tape. So how long does it take for people to get used to the program, like the training, onboarding, all that? How arduous of a process is that?
Okay. Depends how committed you are. We're going back to, you really have to commit to doing it. But the people that are committed, usually it takes them about 2 weeks to feel, we'll say, comfortable in using the program every day. It takes about 6 weeks for them to feel confident. There's a distinction there. But after about 2 weeks, you understand the basics of it. and you're able to use it and start using this and only this. After about 6 weeks, that's when they normally feel confident, and all of a sudden the phone calls just fall off a cliff. The phone calls, the emails, the support tickets, all of a sudden at that point kind of start falling off a cliff after about 6 to 8 weeks.
That's another good question, is like, how accessible are you as far as calling and trying to get help and questions answered?
So the best way for us is the support tickets. We have many people monitoring the support tickets at all times.
Okay.
In the support tickets, you can actually select, the problems at B2B. Am I requesting a feature from you guys? I'm going to report a bug in the software, or it can be as simple as a training request, like I need help with this. And then we have, many people monitoring that at every time. So that's the best way. You can always call in as well and get support. We always, have someone monitoring the phone and that's in charge of it at any point. But that would be more for immediate issues, where most problems, we're not life and death here. Most problems can be fixed, an hour later or so.
Okay.
We try to be as responsive, as possible to our clients. But hopefully, luckily we haven't had too many, big issues where we have to put out fires.
All right. Sounds good. Well, this was great. Thanks for doing the interview, and I'll be sharing it with people, and we'll see, get FloorZap some action. And, I mean, it's just a no brainer. So easy, inexpensive. It's a good way for a lot of people to get started with software who may be a little intimidated by it.
Yeah.
So certainly much easier program than some of the other ones out there. But I would imagine the most difficult part is getting the pricing up there.
Yeah.
But it's one and done. Once you get it up there, other than updates, which once you're hooked up to somebody, then those updates are pretty automatic, right?
Yeah, you're just basically pulling in the file at that point. The last thing I want to mention, and this is just because I'm talking to Jerry Levinson, marketing expert. Okay, my favorite report that we have in the entire system is right here, and it's the lead source report. And what it's telling you is where your leads are coming in from and how much money they're spending. Okay, so you can see how many customers, how many quotes converted to invoice, how many went direct to invoice, total sales and total profit from each one of your different lead sources. So if you're inputting in where you're finding people from, which is the number one thing I recommend when as a salesperson, and if I was a business owner and I owned my own flooring store, it'd be required and it'd be a very big deal, because I know where I'm spending my money. Right. So if they're coming in through my Facebook digital marketing from Market Theory, you should, have a lead source that's Market Theory, and you should know that Market Theory set that appointment, and you can see directly how much money, is bringing in, and how much is the important thing, which is profit on all of these different jobs, that all these different lead sources, and you can see which lead sources, are making the most money.
Does it also break down closing rate? I know you can calculate it, but does it have like specifically closing rate and then average ticket price? Because it was interesting, you do the total profit, but and again, you can calculate it based on the numbers here, but it'd be nice just at a glance to see what's the average ticket.
Customer count. So we don't have the closing rate, we have the customer count and then the invoice count, right? So we don't have the closing rate. And then what was the other thing you were asking about?
The average ticket size. One thing I measured back in the day, I don't utilize this as often as I used to, because we found as the company gets bigger and it's growing, that customers are kind of just coming from everywhere. And a lot of the advertising leads the customers into your website. So the website gets credit for things that maybe it didn't generate. And then you have to have salespeople who are asking. This was absolutely vital for me back in the day, but as a company gets bigger and bigger, it became less important. But I did measure things like average ticket. So I knew my website generated the highest average ticket, and one of the best closing rates, second to referral and repeat customers.
Right.
That's the referral and repeat is the best closing rate, but the average ticket
100%.
customers isn't as good because they're on their second project, which usually isn't as big as their first project.
Yeah. Now, and that's why we do the referral report, because the referral report, and we don't have referrals, I guess, in this, but the referral report tells you which referrals are the best referrals and how your referrals are doing. And because you hit the nail on the head, in my opinion, right there, which is your referrals are going to be your best business that you can possibly have, right? And you want to see who's referring you and how well, because we all know those customers that promise to give you a referral if you give them a discount and then
Right.
they never actually do it. You can actually see which ones are giving in, and it might be worth giving them a phone call and a thank you, because you know what, we've gotten 6 clients from you.
The strategy I learned about referrals is to send them a card, because cards live on your desk. You don't throw a card away and then you thank them. You don't send them more cards because they're already referring you. You don't ask them for more referrals because they're already referring you. But what you say in the card is, hey, if there's anything I could do for you, please let me know. And so it was a book I read about getting referrals without asking for them. It was quite brilliant. Who sends thank you cards anymore, like a physical card? So it works good, because phone calls, they could forget that you called them, or in an email, they could forget about it or not even see the email. So, but that physical card usually lives on their desk for a little while anyway. All right, fantastic. Well, there are so many things about the program that will help you just operate your business better, at marketing and some of the things you can do within the program, the bookkeeping, checking your margins. Oh, one last thing, we're running over a little bit, but generating commission reports for salespeople.
Okay, I'll reshare. So commissions in our system, okay, we work a little bit differently than most of the other softwares out there. So in order to send someone's commission to your accounts payable, under work order actions, we have a mark salesman ready for payment. So then once they're marked ready for payment, then when you go over to your payment section, accounts payable, and your salesmen, right, salespeople, you have all the commissions that are marked ready for payment underneath here. So all those different jobs. So we see that FloorZap support has one. We hit add payment, and then you see all 4 jobs that are in here. Now we have a deduction, and this is an automatic deduction from someone where you paid commission, and then someone had to go back and fix something, and so the profit changed, and then it automatically deducted from a previous job. So it actually keeps track of that. So if anything happens later in the job, you're able to go back and do it just in case. Yeah, the deduction, and then it calculates the total amount it should do. And then usually you're just sending over this payment to QuickBooks.
Can you choose whether you want to pay off the profit or the retail price?
Yes.
Okay. And then
you can have tiers as well. So if you're, selling it between 0 and 10,000, they get 5%. If it's between 10,000 and 20,000, it's this.
Yeah. Can I choose retail price, but pay a percentage based on the percentage of profit? So if their profit margin's over 45%, I give them, an extra 2% commission.
Yes. And so you're able to do that and base the profit. So it's commission by profit per job, filter between, percentage or dollar amounts, and then your commission.
So I can generate my payroll quickly.
Yes.
For the big company. So that's easy to do.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Fantastic. All right, Braddock. Well, let me go ahead and wrap this thing up. And just quickly, if you want to get a hold of you, how do we get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me would be my email. So it's bradoc@floorzap.com. FloorZap, FLOORZAP. So it's just my first name at FloorZap.com. Very simple. That's going to be the best way. You can also call us at 855-556-5678.
All right, fantastic. So thanks for coming on the show. That was good. It went longer than I thought.
All right.
All right, guys, thanks for joining the Flooring Business Podcast. If you'd like to have a strategist to help you in your flooring business, contact me for Flooring BS. It's a new program I started. It's just $500 a month. The BS stands for business systems, not the other thing. You can contact me, Jerry, at profitnowwithjerry.com for more information. And you guys have a great, profitable week.
Thank you, Jerry, for having me. Been an honor.